The massive command ship of the Galactic Dominion drifted through the void between stars. Inside its gleaming metal halls, High Commander Veltar stood before a holographic display showing thousands of star systems under his control, each glowing. Dot represented worlds that had bowed to the might of the Dominion. For 300 years, no species had dared to refuse their demands. The bridge doors hissed open, and Admiral Zephyrus walked in with confident steps. His dark armor reflected the blue light from the control panels. Behind him came his officers, all wearing the same proud expressions that came from never knowing defeat. Commander Zephyrus said with a slight bow, "The scout ships have returned from the Outer Rim, found another system worth taking." Veltar turned from the display, his cold eyes focusing on the Admiral. "Show me." The hologram changed to display a small yellow star with several planets orbiting around it. One blue and green world sat in the perfect distance from its sun. Data streams flowed beside the image showing details about the system. "The third planet shows signs of intelligent life," Zephyrus explained. "They call themselves humans, and their world Earth. Our scouts report they use primitive chemical rockets and simple electronics. No energy shields, no plasma weapons, no faster-than-light travel." Veltar studied the information with growing interest. The planet was rich in water, metals, and had perfect conditions for life. It would make an excellent addition to the Dominion and provide resources for further expansion. "How many of them are there?" he asked. "About 8 billion across their single world. They seem to be divided into many small nations that often fight each other. No unified government or military." This made Veltar smile. Divided worlds were always easier to conquer. Perfect. You can offer them the choice to join us or face destruction. Most will choose to live. Before Zephyrus could respond, an urgent alarm sounded throughout the bridge. Red lights flashed as communication officers rushed to their stations. A priority message was coming through on ancient frequencies that had not been used for thousands of years. "Commander," the communications officer called out, "we are receiving a transmission from the Watcher homeworld." Every person on the bridge went silent.
Ow.
The Watchers were the oldest known species in the galaxy. They'd been traveling between stars when most other races were still learning to make fire. They rarely spoke to anyone and never interfered with the affairs of younger species. "Put it through," Veltar ordered. The hologram flickered and changed to show the wrinkled face of Elder Crete H. The ancient being's large eyes held wisdom gained from seeing civilizations rise and fall across millions of years. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of ages. "High Commander Veltar of the Galactic Dominion," the Elder began. "We have watched your ships approach the Sol system. I give you this warning only once. Do not go to the world called Earth. Do not disturb the humans who live there." Veltar exchanged glances with his officers. This was unexpected. The Watchers had never interfered with Dominion expansion before. "Honored Elder," Veltar replied with mock respect. "We appreciate your concern, but the Dominion has never retreated from a primitive world. These humans have no technology that could threaten us." Elder Crethe's expression grew sad. "See only what appears on the surface. That world breeds warriors unlike any in the galaxy. They are not what they seem. Do not disturb the sleeping giants." "Giants." Admiral Zephyrus laughed. "Our scouts report they barely have spaceflight. They still use wheels for transportation and burn fossil fuels for energy. What threat could such primitives pose to our fleet?" The Elder's image wavered as if the signal was weakening. "We have seen what happens when humans are threatened. We have watched them turn disadvantages into strengths and make weapons from peaceful tools. They do not fight like other species. They adapt. They surprise. They never surrender." "With respect, Elder," Veltar said, his patience wearing thin, "the Dominion has conquered 12,000 worlds. We have faced energy beings, hive minds, and species with technology beyond imagination. No primitive world has ever stood against us. Then you have learned nothing from history," Elder Crete H replied. "We warn you one final time. Leave the Sol system. Find other worlds to claim. But do not go to Earth. It is a trap waiting to be sprung." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Officers looked at each other with confusion and growing amusement. The idea that primitive humans could threaten the mighty Dominion fleet seemed ridiculous. Meanwhile, far away on Earth, Dr. Hyun-Woo Kim was working late in his laboratory at the CERN facility. The quantum physicist had been studying unusual energy readings detected at the edge of the solar system. The patterns were unlike anything natural he had ever seen. "Still here, Hyun-Woo?" asked Dr. Sujin Park as she entered the lab. The xenobiologist carried a cup of coffee and looked tired from her own long day of research. "Look at this," Hyun-Woo said, pointing to his computer screen. "These energy signatures appeared 3 days ago. They are too organized to be random space phenomena." Sujin leaned over his shoulder to study the data. Her expertise in potential alien life forms made her the perfect person to consult about such mysteries. "The patterns repeat every few hours," she observed, like ... communication signals. "Exactly what I was thinking," Hyun-Woo agreed. "They are coming from empty space beyond Pluto. Either we are detecting something very strange, or we are not alone." Sujin finished his thought. Both scientists stared at the screen, feeling the weight of what they might have discovered. They had tried to contact government officials about their findings, but most had dismissed their concerns as imagination. However, some people were listening. Captain Do-Hyun Lee of the South Korean Space Force had read their reports with growing concern. As a military officer, he understood the importance of being prepared for the unexpected. In a secure facility beneath Seoul, Do-Hyun met with Commander Yoon-hee Cho from the International Defense Coalition. Maps and tactical displays covered the walls around them. "The energy readings are real," Commander Cho said. "Our satellites have confirmed the same patterns Dr. Kim detected. Something is out there, and it is moving closer to Earth." "What are our options?" Do-Hyun asked. "We activate the contingency plans. The ones we hoped we would never need." Both officers knew about the secret projects that had been developed over decades. Most people believed they were preparing for threats from other human nations. Was far more concerning back in space. High Commander Veltar made his decision. The Watcher warning was ignored. Admiral Zephyrus was ordered to prepare the fleet for conquest. Earth would fall like every other world before it. None of them realized that their approach had already been detected. Deep space monitoring stations hidden throughout the solar system were tracking every ship. The trap was already being prepared. The humans were ready. Admiral Zephyrus stood on the bridge of his flagship as 500 Dominion warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. The massive fleet spread across space like a dark cloud, their hulls gleaming with the power of weapons that could shatter planets. "Target acquired," his tactical officer reported. "The blue world is exactly where our scouts said it would be. No defensive fleets detected. No energy shields around the planet." Zephyrus smiled with satisfaction. This would be easier than expected. He had conquered 47 worlds during his career, and each victory had followed the same pattern. Show overwhelming force, make demands, watch the primitives surrender. "Open communication channels to the planet's surface," he ordered. "All frequencies." The transmission reached Earth within minutes. In cities across the world, television broadcasts were suddenly interrupted. Radio stations went silent, then filled with an alien voice speaking in perfect human languages. "People of Earth," Admiral Zephyrus announced, his words reaching every corner of the planet. "I am Admiral Zephyrus of the Galactic Dominion. Your world has been chosen to join our empire. You have 72 hours to surrender unconditionally. Submit peacefully, and your lives will be spared. Resist and face complete destruction." In the United Nations building in New York, diplomats and world leaders watched the message with a mixture of fear and disbelief. The main assembly hall buzzed with urgent conversations in dozens of languages. Dr. Ji-Hoon Kwon, Earth's lead xenobiologist, and now hastily appointed chief diplomat for first contact, stood at the podium trying to maintain calm. His hands shook slightly as he adjusted his glasses and addressed the gathered representatives. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ji-Hoon said, his voice carrying across the silent hall, "this is the moment our species has wondered about for centuries. We are not alone." and our first contact is not what we hoped it would be. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Swiss Alps, General Minho Yang was already implementing plans that most of the world did not know existed. The underground command center hummed with activity as military officers from every major nation worked side by side. Protocol Omega is now active, General Yang announced to his staff. All deep space monitoring stations report enemy fleet positions. We have confirmed 500 hostile ships holding position near Jupiter. Admiral Hajin Choi, commander of the combined fleet operations, studied the tactical displays showing the alien formation. Her years of experience in naval warfare helped her understand what they were facing. They are positioned for a classic intimidation approach, she observed. Stay far enough away to avoid immediate combat, close enough to demonstrate their power. This suggests they want us to surrender without a fight. That gives us time, General Yang replied. Time to show them that Earth is not as defenseless as it appears. News channels showed continuous coverage of the alien ultimatum. Some people panicked and fled the cities. Others gathered in places of worship to pray. Many simply waited to see what would happen next. But in hidden facilities around the world, a different kind of preparation was taking place. Engineer Sung-Ho Park worked frantically in a classified laboratory beneath Seoul. The quantum tunneling network he had spent 15 years developing was finally being activated. Bring the primary nodes online, Sung-Ho ordered his team. Initialize the underground power grid connections. Need full coverage within 48 hours. His assistant, Dr. Thejin Lim, monitored the plasma shield generators that had been secretly installed around major population centers. The technology was decades ahead of anything the public knew existed. Seoul, Tokyo, New York, London, and Moscow are ready, she reported. We can extend defensive coverage to 50 more cities within 12 hours. Back at the United Nations, Dr. Ji-Hoon Kwan was preparing humanity's response to the alien ultimatum. He had been in constant communication with world leaders and military commanders, carefully crafting a message that would buy them more time. Admiral Zephyrus Ji-Hoon said into the communication array, I am Dr. Ji-Hoon Kwan, speaking for the people of Earth. Your arrival has surprised our world. We need more time to consider your offer and organize a proper response from our various governments. The response came quickly. Admiral Zephyrus appeared on screens around the world, his alien features twisted with impatience. You're primitive. Political systems are not our concern, the Admiral replied coldly. You have 72 hours. Use that time to accept the inevitable. But the Admiral was growing frustrated with what he saw as stalling tactics. 2 days passed with more requests. For time and clarification, the humans seemed to be treating this as a negotiation rather than a surrender demand. On the third day, Zephyrus decided to demonstrate the futility of resistance. His fleet moved closer to Earth, positioning themselves near the moon. Prepare. The plasma cannons, he ordered his weapons officer. Target the far side of their moon. We will show them what happens to those who test our patience. The Dominion ships fired in unison. Brilliant beams of energy struck the moon's surface, creating explosions that could be seen from Earth even during daylight. A section of the surface was completely vaporized, leaving a glowing crater visible to anyone with a telescope. They understand, Admiral Zephyrus said with satisfaction. Send another message. Tell them they have 6 hours to surrender, or their planet suffers the same fate. But the Admiral had made a critical mistake. Instead of terrifying humanity into submission, the attack had triggered something he did not expect. In the hidden command center, General Yang received confirmation that the moon attack had been detected by their secret monitoring systems. Importantly, it had activated the final protocols that Earth's defenders had hoped never to use. The enemy has shown hostile intent with an actual attack, General Yang announced. All restrictions are lifted. Begin Phase 2 of our response. Engineer Sung-Ho Park pressed a series of buttons that sent signals across the planet. The quantum tunneling network came fully online, connecting power systems that had been disguised as civilian infrastructure for decades. Dr. Thejin Lim activated her plasma shield generators. Around the world, shimmering barriers of energy suddenly appeared over major cities. The shields were invisible to normal sight, but blazed like auroras when active. Admiral Zephyrus stared in shock at his sensors. The primitive planet that had shown no advanced technology was suddenly displaying energy signatures more sophisticated than many advanced civilizations. "How is this possible?" he demanded. Our scouts reported no defensive capabilities. His tactical officer checked and rechecked the readings. "Admiral, the energy output is enormous. These shields are using technology we do not recognize." The surprises were only beginning. The human response was about to reveal just how wrong the Dominion's intelligence had been. "Captain." Duhaiyan Li smiled grimly as he received the activation codes he had been waiting for. The sleeping giants were finally waking up. The trap was about to be revealed. Admiral Zephyrus stared at his tactical display in growing confusion. The energy readings from Earth continued to climb beyond anything his sensors had ever recorded. The primitive world was producing power levels that rivaled the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Status report he demanded from his bridge crew. "Admiral, we are detecting massive energy networks spanning the entire planet," his science officer reported. "The humans appear to have underground power systems we never detected." "Impossible," Zephyr snarled. "Our scouts surveyed this world for months. They found nothing but primitive technology." But the evidence was right there on his screens. The blue planet below was lighting up like a star as hidden systems came online across its surface. On Earth, Taeyong-shin sat in a command center, buried 2 kilometers beneath the mountains of South Korea, as head of the Global Defense Network. He had waited 20 years for this moment. His fingers moved across holographic controls that connected him to defense systems around the world. "All stations report ready," he announced to the international team of officers surrounding him. "Satellite network is fully operational. Target acquisition is complete." The satellites orbiting Earth were not the simple communication devices the aliens believed them to be. Each one contained advanced targeting computers and quantum processors that had been calculating attack vectors for days. "Begin Phase 1, Taeyong ordered. Across the planet, missile silos that had been disguised as industrial facilities opened their doors. Hundreds of rockets launched into space, their trails creating bright lines against the sky. The Dominion fleet detected them immediately. "Incoming missiles," the tactical officer reported. "Primitive chemical propulsion. Impact in 4 minutes." Admiral Zephyrus laughed. "Chemical rockets against energy shields. These humans are even more foolish than I thought. Destroy them all." The Dominion ships activated their defensive systems. Brilliant energy beams swept through space, destroying every incoming missile with ease. The human attack was over in less than 2 minutes. "See how useless their weapons are?" Admiral Zephyrus told his crew. "Prepare to move closer to the planet. We will end this quickly." But in the hidden command center, Taeyong-shin was smiling. The missile attack had never been meant to cause damage. It was a distraction. "Decoy phase complete," he reported. All enemy ships focused on the obvious threat. They never noticed the real weapons. For months, engineer Dong Woo-yoon had been placing objects in space that looked like ordinary debris. Old satellites, empty fuel tanks, and metal scraps floated. In carefully calculated orbits around Earth, the aliens had ignored them completely. But these were not random pieces of junk. Each object contained a gravity bomb that could create localized distortions in space-time. The technology was based on research that officially did not exist. "All gravity bombs are in position," Dong-woo reported from his station. "Enemy fleet is moving into the target zone." Dr. So-young-jung checked her calculations one final time. The theoretical physicist had spent her entire career developing weapons that most scientists believed were impossible. Today she would prove them wrong. "Initiating controlled black hole generation," she announced, beginning gravitational field manipulation. The effects started small. A few Dominion ships at the edge of the formation suddenly found their navigation systems acting strangely. "Their computers reported impossible readings, Admiral," the navigator called out. "We are detecting gravitational anomalies. Space itself appears to be ... bending." Before Admiral Zephyrus could respond, the trap closed. The debris field around Earth activated simultaneously. Dozens of artificial gravity wells appeared throughout the Dominion formation, creating pockets of twisted space-time. Ships that had been flying in perfect formation suddenly found themselves pulled in different directions. Hulls groaned under impossible stresses as gravity waves passed through the fleet. Several smaller vessels were caught between conflicting gravitational fields and torn apart. Evasive maneuvers. Admiral Zephyrus shouted, "Get us out of this field," but escape was not possible. The gravity bombs had been positioned to create a three-dimensional maze of gravitational distortion. Every direction the ships tried to move led them deeper into the trap. From his hidden command center, Captain Wu Jinha watched the enemy fleet struggle against forces they could not understand. As commander of Earth's secret space force, he had been preparing for this moment since the first alien scout ship had been detected. "Launch the real fleet," he ordered. What the Dominion had mistaken for mining equipment on Mars and Europa suddenly revealed their true nature. The industrial facilities were actually shipyards that had been building vessels for decades. The mining ships were warships in disguise. "This is Captain Wu Jinha to all units," he broadcast on secured channels. "Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. Show them what human engineering can really do." The hidden fleet emerged from asteroid, mining stations, lunar facilities, and deep space platforms the aliens had never detected. Ships that looked like cargo haulers suddenly deployed weapon systems that glowed with energy, but these were not ordinary weapons. Human scientists had developed technology that worked on completely different principles than anything else in the galaxy. While other species focused on energy beams and plasma cannons, humans had gone in unexpected directions. Commander J1 No coordinated the counterattack from his command center hidden beneath the ice of Antarctica. The facility had been built to survive planetary destruction. Its quantum communication system allowed instant coordination with forces throughout the solar system. "Enemy fleet is trapped in the gravity maze," he reported. "Beginning precision. Attacks on disabled vessels." The human ships moved through the gravitational distortions as if they were not there. Their hulls were designed to resist the effects that were crippling the Dominion fleet. "How are they doing this?" Admiral Zephyrus demanded as he watched human vessels maneuver freely through space that was tearing his ships. Apart, his science officer studied the readings with growing amazement. "Admiral, their ships appear to be generating their own gravitational fields. They are using the same technology that is trapping us." The truth was even more shocking. Humanity had not just learned to create artificial gravity wells. They had learned to surf them. Their ships rode gravitational waves like boats on an ocean, moving faster and more efficiently than conventional propulsion. The Dominion fleet, which had seemed invincible just hours before, was now scattered and helpless. Ships that had terrorized civilizations across the galaxy were being picked off one by vessels they had dismissed as primitive mining equipment. "Retreat," Admiral Zephyrus ordered. "Signal the fleet to withdraw beyond the gravity field." Retreat was not an option. The trap had been designed to be inescapable. Every escape route led to more gravitational anomalies. The humans had turned the entire inner solar system into a weapon, as more Dominion ships were destroyed or disabled. A terrible realization began to dawn on the surviving aliens. The primitive world they had come to conquer had been ready for them all along. Earth was not a target, it was a trap, and they had walked right into it. Admiral Zephyrus frantically worked at his command console as his flagship shook under the stress of conflicting gravitational forces. Half of his fleet was already destroyed or disabled, trapped in the impossible maze that humans had created around Earth. "Full reverse engines," he ordered his helmsman. "Get us out of this gravity field immediately." "Cannot, Admiral," the helmsman replied with panic in his voice. "Every direction I try to go pulls us deeper into the anomalies. It is like trying to escape from a black hole." But Admiral Zephyrus was not ready to accept defeat. His remaining ships still outnumbered the human vessels, and Dominion technology was still superior in many ways. "Signal all surviving ships," he commanded. "Form defensive positions. Calculate jump coordinates for faster-than-light retreat." In the navigation center, his officers worked desperately to find an escape route. Their computers ran millions of calculations per second, trying to plot a course through the gravitational maze. However, They did not know that their every move was being predicted and countered. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, engineer Kyung-ho monitored quantum processing networks that span the entire planet. Their computers are trying to calculate escape vectors, Kyung-ho reported to his team. But our quantum network is processing the same calculations faster than their systems can run them. What the aliens did not realize was that Earth's primitive internet had been a disguise. The global communication network was actually the largest quantum computer ever built, distributed across millions of hidden processors worldwide. Every time they calculate a possible escape route, we calculate it first and place another gravity bomb in their path. Kyung-ho explained to Commander Jae-won-no over the secure communication link. Dr. Myung-song smiled as she watched her psychological warfare program take effect. The xenopsychologist had spent years studying alien behavior patterns, preparing for exactly this kind of encounter. Phase 2 of mental operations is ready, she announced. Begin prisoner infiltration protocol. What happened next shocked the Dominion forces even more than the gravity traps. Several human prisoners who had been captured during the initial skirmish suddenly stood up in their holding cells and began speaking to their alien guards. "Hello," said one of the prisoners calmly. "We need to talk." The alien guards stared in confusion as the human prisoners began dismantling their cell doors with tools that had not been there moments before. The prisoners were not trying to escape. Instead, they were connecting strange devices to the ship's computer systems. "What are you doing?" demanded the guard captain. "We are uploading a virus into your computer network," the prisoner replied politely. "Do not worry. It will not hurt anyone. It will just make your systems stop working." The prisoner was Chan-woo Ryu, former computer hacker, who had volunteered for one of the most dangerous missions in human history. He and dozens of other specialists had allowed themselves to be captured carrying quantum viruses hidden in their own bodies. "Impossible," the alien guard said. "We scanned you completely. You had no technology." Chan-woo smiled as he finished connecting his biological computer interface to the ship's mainframe. "You scanned for metal and energy sources? You did not? Scanned for quantum processors grown from modified human brain tissue." The virus spread through the Dominion ship faster than the aliens could react. Their computers began shutting down one by one as human-designed programs took control of their systems. Similar scenes were playing out on ships throughout the Dominion fleet. Every human prisoner was actually a volunteer carrying advanced technology that organic scanners could not detect. But the surprises were far from over. Admiral Zephyrus received reports that made him question everything his species thought they knew about the galaxy. "Admiral," his intelligence officer called out urgently. "We are receiving signals from other star systems. The humans have been there before us." Insu Kim had led exploration teams to distant worlds for over 30 years. Using technology that officially did not exist, human scouts had been gathering intelligence on the Dominion long before first contact. "Show me," Admiral Zephyrus demanded. The main display showed star charts with dozens of systems marked with human symbols. Bases, monitoring stations, and even small colonies had been established in secret throughout Dominion space. "How long have they been watching us?" the Admiral asked in disbelief. "Based on these signals, at least 50 Earth years," the intelligence officer replied. "They know our military tactics, our technology, even our language and culture." The truth was even more disturbing. Humanity had known about the Galactic Dominion since their first deep space probes detected alien signals. Instead of making contact, they had chosen to study their potential enemies and prepare for the worst. Major Borum O led the first human ground assault teams as they boarded disabled Dominion vessels. Her soldiers moved through alien corridors with a confidence that terrified their enemies. "Secure the command center," she ordered her squad. "Capture their officers for questioning." The Dominion Marines tried to mount a defense, but they had never faced anything like human infantry tactics. Their military training was based on logical, predictable warfare between civilizations that followed established rules. Humans followed no rules except victory. They used every advantage, fought from unexpected positions, and adapted their tactics faster than alien commanders could respond. They fight like wild animals, one Dominion officer reported. No formation, no standard procedures. They attack from directions that should be impossible. What the aliens saw as chaos was actually highly coordinated teamwork. Human soldiers communicated through quantum-encrypted thought interfaces, allowing them to coordinate attacks without speaking or using electronic signals. Engineer Hay-1 SEO revealed another shocking truth as she activated power systems that had been hidden for decades. The fossil fuels that humans appeared to depend on were just a cover story. Bringing fusion reactors online, she announced from her control station. Antimatter generators are ready for full power. Around the world, facilities that had been disguised as coal plants and oil refineries suddenly revealed their true purpose. Clean energy technology that was centuries ahead of what the public knew powered the defensive networks. They have been lying about their entire civilization, Admiral Zephyrus said as he stared at the energy readings. Everything we observed was false. His tactical officer nodded grimly. Their pollution, their primitive technology, their divided governments, all of it was designed to make us underestimate them. The remaining Dominion ships found themselves surrounded by human vessels that moved like living things through space. Their weapons were useless against shields that bent the laws of physics, and their computers were being taken over by viruses they could not understand. Admiral, the communications officer, called out, "We're receiving a transmission from the human fleet commander." Captain Wu Jinha appeared on the screen, his expression calm and professional. "Admiral Zephyrus, this is Captain Ha of the Earth Defense Force. You are completely surrounded and outgunned. I am offering you one chance to surrender." "Never," Admiral Zephyrus snarled. "The Dominion does not surrender to primitives. We are not primitives," Captain Ha replied quietly. "We are humans. And you have made the mistake of threatening our home." The trap was complete. The mighty Dominion fleet was helpless. The emergency transmission reached the Dominion capital faster than light itself. Emperor Vextheron sat on his throne of living crystal as the desperate message from Admiral Zephyrus played before his court. "Impossible," the Emperor declared. As he watched images of his mighty fleet being destroyed by primitive humans, this must be some kind of trick or illusion. His advisors whispered among themselves, unable to believe what they were seeing. The Galactic Dominion had ruled 12,000 worlds for centuries. No single planet had ever defeated them in battle. "Prepare my personal fleet," Emperor Vextheron commanded. "I will go to this Earth myself and show these humans what real power looks like." Within hours, the most advanced ships in the galaxy were racing toward the Sol system. The Emperor's flagship alone was larger than most space stations, armed with weapons that could crack continents and shielded by technology that had never failed. On Earth, Sangmin Park watched the approaching reinforcements from his command. Centered deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, as supreme commander of all human forces, he had been preparing for this moment since childhood. "The Emperor himself is coming," he announced. To his staff, "Exactly as we predicted. Begin final preparations for Operation Starfall." Dr. Unisio Kim checked her calculations one last time. The terraforming engineer had spent 20 years disguising her real work as planetary improvement projects. The truth was far more incredible. "All orbital construction platforms are ready," she reported. "Projects on Mars, Venus, and the outer moons are complete. Can begin stellar manipulation on your command." What the galaxy had seen as human expansion into their solar system was actually the largest engineering project in history. Every human settlement, every mining operation, every research station had been part of a plan to turn their entire star system into a weapon. Meanwhile, Purivextheron's fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. He expected to find the scattered remains of Admiral Zephyrus's forces and a planet ready to beg for mercy instead. He found something that challenged everything he believed about the universe. "Emperor," his science advisor said with trembling voice, "the entire system appears to be ... artificial." The readings were impossible to deny. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid had been modified by human engineering. What looked like natural celestial bodies were actually components of a massive machine. "Show me Earth," the Emperor demanded. The blue world appeared on his screen, but now it was surrounded by a network of energy that stretched across space. Millions of tiny objects orbited the planet in perfect formation, creating patterns that hurt the mind to observe. "What are those objects?" Emperor Vextheron asked. "They appear to be dust particles," his science advisor replied. "But they are behaving in coordinated patterns. It is as if the space around Earth has been converted into smart matter." Dr. Ganghoan smiled as he activated his life's work. The atmospheric engineer had convinced the world that air pollution was humanity's greatest shame. In reality, every particle released into Earth's atmosphere had been carefully designed. Initiating smart dust activation, he announced, beginning rapid construction protocol. The pollution that had made Earth look primitive suddenly revealed its true purpose. Trillions of microscopic machines began connecting with each other, forming structures in space at impossible speeds. Within minutes, the area around Earth was filled with defensive platforms, weapon arrays, and shield generators that assembled themselves from what the aliens had thought was environmental damage. "This is impossible," Emperor Vextheron said as he watched space fortresses appear from nothing. "Matter cannot behave this way." But the humans had learned to program matter itself. Every speck of dust, every molecule of gas in their solar system, could be controlled and reshaped at will. "Emperor," his tactical officer called out urgently. "The star itself is changing." Dr. Ganghoan had saved his greatest surprise for last. The sun, Earth's life-giving star, began to pulse with unnatural rhythms. Solar flares erupted in precise patterns, creating directed streams of energy that human technology could control. "Beginning controlled stellar manipulation," Dr. Gingho announced. "The star is now under our command." The Emperor's flagship shuddered as waves of solar energy washed over its shields. The energy was not random, but carefully focused. Designed to disrupt alien technology while leaving human systems unaffected, shields failing, the defensive coordinator reported. "The energy is specifically tuned to overload our power systems." Emperor Vextheron finally understood the true scope of what humanity had accomplished. They had not just prepared for war. They had converted their entire solar system into the ultimate weapon. "Retreat," he ordered. "Signal all ships to withdraw." Immediately, but escape was impossible. The same smart matter that protected Earth now filled the space between planets. Human technology had turned the void itself into a trap that responded to their commands. As the Dominion's greatest fleet was systematically destroyed, other species throughout the galaxy received messages that changed everything. The empire that had ruled them for centuries was finally being defeated. Gun Wooly, now serving as Earth's first galactic ambassador, broadcast a message to every world in the known galaxy. "People of the stars," Gun Wu announced, "the Galactic Dominion no longer controls your destiny. Humanity offers you freedom and friendship instead of conquest and slavery." Across 12,000 worlds, rebellions began as species that had been enslaved for generations rose up against their oppressors. The Dominion's military forces, scattered and demoralized by the defeated Earth, could not maintain control. In his laboratory on Earth, theoretical physicist Sun Hee-nam made a discovery that explained everything. Had revealed the truth about the ancient Watchers and their warning. "The time streams are converging," she announced to her research team. The Watchers who warned the Dominion were actually humans from an alternate timeline. They were trying to prevent a war they had already lived through. The revelation was staggering. Humanity had been destined to defeat the Galactic Dominion, because versions of themselves from other timelines had been working to ensure it happened. "We are part of a causal loop," Sun He explained. "Our victory was always inevitable, because our future selves made sure we would be ready." Young cadet Juan Choi stood on the observation deck of Earth's newest starship as the last Dominion. Vessels fled the solar system. The war was over, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. "Where do we go now?" asked his training officer. Juan looked out at the stars with determination in his eyes. "Everywhere," he replied. "The galaxy is free, and someone needs to make sure it stays that way." The former slaves of the Galactic Dominion were forming a new confederation based on cooperation rather than conquest. At its heart was a small blue, the world that had taught the universe a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the humans. Earth had been the ultimate trap. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of human exploration among the stars had begun, carrying with them the promise that freedom and ingenuity would always triumph over tyranny and oppression. The sleeping giants were fully awake now, and they would make sure the universe was a better place for everyone.